Wentz, he's been sacked 35 times. The good news, of course, for Wentz is that if he does indeed go down today, at least the ground is soft. It continues to pour here.
They suck. They suck. The quarterback play, I mean, it's just horrible. It really is.
2 weeks off, and he probably didn't even pick up a football. He's not accurate at all. Wentz's confidence is just completely shot.
Quarterbacks are making plays all over the league. Our quarterback is not doing that.
Carson Wentz has to be benched.
You cannot win in the NFL with quarterback play like that.
Doug and Carson, it looks like a marriage headed for divorce.
Consistency. If you're not consistent, then you're trash.
It's been a rough go for Philadelphia, certainly. They almost got swept by the Giants. Still, that 3-5-1 record, just like real estate, location is the most important thing. They are in first place despite Carson Wentz having statistically easily the worst year of his young career. So, as you could see, he's warming up in the rain. They're going to need a big game out of Miles Sanders. Certainly, if you expect this to be the Nick Chubb show, along with the rest of that Cleveland running game. Kurt, I mean, we've talked about it, but here we are now still talking about it. What's wrong with Carson Wentz?
Rich, to me, this is an efficiency thing, and we can look at the pieces around it. We've been looking at that for, about a year now with all the different moving parts in and out, and that definitely has an effect on a quarterback, no question. But I've also been talking about it for about a year now, that there's some deficiencies in his technique. And so when you watch him play, he can make one beautiful throw, and then the next throw misses by 10 yards. And you wonder how a guy that's had that much success, has played this long in the NFL, can be so up and down. And it comes back to those technique issues and feeling comfortable with what they're doing. I mean, you go back and look at this team. In 5 of their 9 games this year, they've had 2 red zone attempts or less. I mean, getting into the red zone, that speaks to efficiency. Not big plays, working the football down the field and giving your team opportunities to score points. They're not doing that. It starts with that guy right there being more comfortable with what they're doing offensively, getting better with this technique, and not having to spend so much time playing hero ball and trying to make the big plays. He's just got to make the right plays.
Every play. Right, and make those big plays every play. And you're talking about making the right play. And I think that's what it is, too. It's not a physical thing where he doesn't have the physical gifts. Kurt, you talked about his accuracy. Sometimes he's on, sometimes he's off. I think it's a mental thing. He wants to be, he wants to try to do everything. He wants to try to win every game. He wants to try to win every play. When I talk with him and interviewed him, I say, when will you have the ability to not make the bad play and when will you know to use all the gifts that God has given you? He said, I got to fight this battle all my life. And I really wanted to hear him say, at certain points of the game, I just got to get out of certain plays. Somebody has to tell him that sometimes, son, you just got to get out of certain plays and don't try to do too much, coach. Yeah. Some coach has to say that to him.
Yeah, and he's a good player that's not playing that well right now. A lot of reasons. When you have 9 different offensive lines, we know that. When you have all these receivers that are out, 6 Pro Bowlers on this offense have not been playing. So I think it's Kurt, he goes back in the pocket sometimes instead of just reading his progression, feeling comfortable in the pocket and then stepping into his throws and doing all the right things. I think he feels like, hey, I got to get rid of this ball. Am I going to be protected okay? He's been the most sacked and the most hit quarterback in the league. He's got to snap out of that, but they got to start protecting him.
I guess the line that sets up just how fortunate the Eagles are is that even if they lose, they're still in first place at 3-6-1 thanks to their tie with Cincinnati. I don't think I've ever said a statement like that before, with it being factual and not ironic or sarcastic, but hashtag facts. Hashtag facts. The site of tonight's Sunday night game where the Raiders could sweep the Chiefs. Another hashtag fact. Hashtag Omar Ruiz.
Hey, Rich, Patrick Mahomes said this week that in that Week 5 loss against the Raiders, they did not match the effort or intensity of the Raiders. He said it was a reminder that they can't simply show up and win every week. Linebacker Anthony Hitchens said that energy or lack thereof was evident on tape. He said that's something that they worked on here in the bye week. He compared the energy to practices this week to that of the first day of training camp or of OTAs. He said it's something as Super Bowl champions they talk about all the time, getting their opponent's best shot. But until they were punched in the mouth that day, it hadn't sunk in yet. The Chiefs hoping that Week 5 loss, their only one they've experienced in the past 378 days.
The desperate foe in the Raiders, who are sick of being dominated by the Chiefs. Touchdown! Patrick Mahomes on 2 rolls of the day.
Hour of NFL Game Day morning here in Week 11. We saw this about an hour ago of Teddy Bridgewater trying to warm up with an injured knee that knocked him out of last week's game. He didn't pass our eye test, and this didn't pass Matt Rule's eye test. He is out, Steve Mariucci, for Week 11.
How about passing the eye test right here? Taysom Hill will get his first start at quarterback since 2016 when he was at BYU in the big win against Utah State. Let her rip, big guy.
And this guy always passes the eye test. He's got size, he's got speed, athleticism, touchdown maker. Chase Claypool's really become the go-to guy for Big Ben.
My eyes would like to see some passes thrown towards this guy right here, Dez Bryant. This may be the game in the red zone. Let's get a few passes up in the air towards him.
That's Dez Bryant back on an NFL field. Came up from the practice squad just a couple of days ago. And Ryan Tannehill trying to rebound. Feels like a month since they last played. It really was the kickoff to Week 10 of Thursday Night Football. The Titans coming off of that loss, trying to knock the Ravens down a peg. Mike Garafolo at the bank today. What's up, Mike?
Rich, Ravens defensive coordinator Don Martindale said you either win or you learn in this league. And last week against the Patriots, Ravens rookie linebacker Patrick Queen did a lot of learning. The Patriots clearly schemed things against Queen in both the running game and the passing game. And Queen, for his part, admitted that his coverage has been, quote, shaky this year, and also said he needs to be more physical today against the Titans and the downhill running game that involves Derrick Henry. Now, Queen will not have 2 defensive linemen in front of him, 2 veterans, Brandon Williams and Calais Campbell, both out for this game. So a real test for the talented rookie linebacker who has struggled at times this year, Rich.
And this is why it's so big. I mean, we're beginning to start to see the playoff picture become more into focus. The Ravens, with that loss on Sunday Night Football, they're currently in the 7th seed. So if it was the current playoff format was the one of the last 30 years, Ravens would be in the hunt, or if you will, sniffing it, be in the playoffs. And you've got the Titans there 9th coming into today. Again, this is the final hour 4 of NFL Game Day morning. 2020 Week 11, presented by Lowe's. We put the home and home team. Steve Mariucci and Rich Eisen joining us right here on NFL Game Day morning in studio. And then my guys at home, there's Kurt Warner and there is Michael Irvin, getting ready to discuss the top story of the day. That includes, obviously, Taysom Hill later on, as we just saw him warming up for his big first start for the Saints. But we see the question on the screen is for you, Steve. First up, is Lamar Jackson going to have a bounce-back game with the rest of his mates today against the Titans?
Yeah, Rich, I think they will. And, you know, both of these teams are 6-3, and they've struggled a little bit lately. But Lamar Jackson is facing a defense with the Titans that isn't as good as it was last year. 25th ranked defense, and you know what? They're 31st on 3rd down. That's the money down. Get off the field. And they haven't been able to do that with the Tennessee defense. And if you can't get off the field against Baltimore, they are going to chew up the clock. They're going to have the ball for 40 minutes, Kurt Warner, and you're going to have guys over there like Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill saying, hey, let us play a little bit. That other team won't get off the field.
Well, you mentioned, Coach, that the Titans' defense isn't the same as last year, but this Ravens offense isn't the same as last year either, and it really starts up front. That, you know, Marshall Yanda goes off and retires. Ronnie Stanley suffered that injury. Skura with the issues that they've had there at the center spot. And so I do believe, I'm going to agree with you that I think it's time, and Lamar Jackson hasn't played awful football, that this is a defense that they can get right against. But it really is going to come down to those front 5 guys. You know, they don't have the 3 tight end set that they had in the past. It's going to come down to those, you know, front 5 guys being able to control the line of scrimmage and be able to run the football first, and hopefully Lamar Jackson to break out. So I'm going to say yes because Titans defense has been a mess, but I'm still worried about the Ravens up front.
Yeah, Kurt, and so am I. But I will also affirm this, that, yes, they will bounce back. And a couple things that in this game that make me say that. First of all, the Ravens have problems with an offense that can score quickly and score often because they have issues coming back. So I don't see that being a problem since Tennessee is going to be running right downhill, and they love running the ball. So, yeah, that'll be an issue. And if you cannot stop the run, if you cannot stop the primary, then you get